Hey there, Squirrel Army! How's it going for today? I want to talk about Asinine Antics.
You can join the Squirrel Army by subscribing.
Alright, so this is a 4 mana sorcery, but you can play 2 more mana to make this an instant, which that's pretty darn good. I always say that people never expect Cyclonic Rift coming, even though everyone knows Cyclonic Rift's always coming. No one's ever prepared for it. This isn't exactly Cyclonic Rift, but it's still pretty good. For each creature your opponents control, you create a Cursed Role token to that creature. So you make those creatures 1/1 creatures that don't have any other abilities. Effectively. So those creatures are now no longer relevant creatures, basically. All your opponent's creatures are now 1/1 do nothing little dorks. And that's it. They can't really do a whole lot with these just 1/1 do nothings. So if somebody has been foolish, it's kind of almost an Aetherize, actually, I suppose, in some ways, but it's kind of better Aetherize, I think, in some ways as well, because you can send them to the grave, because then you can just go ahead and block any of your opponent's creatures that are now 1/1s and have no other abilities, effectively. So that's pretty good. Or if you've got something like Elish Norn or whatever, anything that basically gives a negative buff to all creatures or even just your opponent's creatures on the field, well, they suddenly just die straight away instead of you just having to go through that effort of blocking them. But again, not everyone has that. But then, as I sort of said, you can go through that process of going, well, just block all your 1/1s that don't have any abilities or just are 1/1s now. And then, all my stuff is going to survive because, all your stuff is just 1/1. So, and yes, it does affect your other opponents as well, the ones that aren't attacking you as well. So, and it's just one of those things where, like, if my opponents now just have some random 1/1s for the most part, now I'm not going to be that worried. So on the swing back from, like, me casting this on my opponents, I'm probably just going to legit win the game. Like, so that's the type of thing that you're going to do with this. You're just going to, like, you can fog anything, any combo, effectively, that anyone's doing. You can just turn all their stuff into 1/1 do-nothings. So therefore their combos and things like whatever they're trying to do really won't work and things like that. So you can do really interesting and odd kinds of things with it as well. You can just not use it in the way that I've said, like just during combat or during, like, well, I'm going to go back to my turn and then, I'm going to punch everyone and kill everyone like I would do. You can do some funny things like, effectively fogging any, effects that anyone would do, because now all their creatures are no longer having the abilities that they had and are just 1/1s. They no longer have the power and toughness that they had. They no longer have the text that they had. So, now they have a real tough time, to, execute any strategies, because now everything's changed and maybe almost all their stuff is dead. So yeah, it's a really great spell that I think a lot more people should be playing. I think a lot of us kind of missed on this card when it sort of was previewed and revealed and in the deck and in that. Maybe it's because it's a mythic, is because one of the reasons I didn't really know much about it, because it's just like when you're pulling cards from boxes and whatnot, you don't see these mythics very much. They're a very low hit count, so, it's one of those things that you can miss some of these mythics. And again, when there's so much product and there's so much going on, sometimes it's easy to miss some of these things. But I think this is a really amazing card that people kind of forgot about it kind of existed, because it can do so many just different things, and probably things that I can't or haven't even thought of at this moment in producing this video. But again, just the few things that I have thought about it make this card real good. And I just think, even like for a couple of bucks, this is an absolute, great pickup. More people should be like trying to find space for this in your decks. Yes, there are some other spells that are quote-unquote better or whatever or whatnot at kind of getting rid of creatures, but this makes a lot of creatures way less threatening than what they were in so many ways, and less able to do what they were going to do with those creatures. Yes, you can always get those times where somebody's just playing Aut ones or whatever and things like that, and you've kind of buffed some of their stuff, but you've probably just debuffed everyone else's stuff just as much, so, or if not more, so it's just well worth it. And plus, again, it doesn't hit your stuff, so again, it is a very Cyclonic Rift effect, not hitting your stuff, so that's always a very high value, especially when it's instant speed, and whatnot. So again, it's just got so many upsides, and I just think, you know, I think I'll try to find more space to play it, certainly. But you guys can let me know what you think. Do you think you'd put this into a deck, slot it in there? Let me know your thoughts down there in the comments below. Hope you've enjoyed this one, and hope you'll join me again for another one.